If you love ball like I do, After Dark's a must listen.
It's where I go to get my hoops fixed.
This is Field of 68 After Dark.
Welcome in to Field of 68 After Dark here on a Thursday, January 30th edition of the show. As always, we're here on YouTube, but we're now on SiriusXM for the rest of the season. So we're officially underway. That's what I like to say. When we get on SiriusXM, fellas, the college basketball season has definitely gotten started. We got some OT games wrapping up between Illinois and Nebraska. Memphis, Tulane coming down to the wire. We'll break all of it down here on the show, as well as preview a little of Saturday's action. Saturday's got some juicy storylines, so we'll get into that today on the show. I'm John Martin, joined tonight, Kevin Sweeney, Jerel McNeal. Good to be with you guys tonight, but we'll sort of work our way down the list, guys, in terms of the big ones tonight. We'll have a Big Ten heavier slant on this Thursday, but Ohio State, Kevin Sweeney, goes into the rec hall against a Penn State team that, man, they really needed one. They really needed to get back on the right side of things, and they were basically blitzed in this one. Never had a shot, even though they closed as a 3.5 point favorite. This Ohio State team has been up, it's been down, but, you know, they do what they do well. I mean, they shoot the three, they make a lot of them, and they handle Penn State. What'd you make of that win tonight, Kevin, for Ohio State and Diebler there?
Yeah, this was a good showing. Like, I was impressed with, especially on the road, and not just, you know, Bryce Jordan can get a little drab and quiet. Like, this was their campus gym. It's loud. There's some energy, and Ohio State never let that energy impact them because they controlled it from really the opening tip. And it's credit to them. Like, look, 2 weeks ago, Ohio State was on the ropes. Like, you lose at home to Indiana, you're 2-5 in the league, 10-8 overall. Like, this thing could have went down a pretty ugly path with the way that the league is. And to go on the road and beat Purdue, dominate Iowa, now dominate Penn State on the road. Like, you've established yourself not just as a tournament team, but a team that can now climb the seed list a little bit. You know, their guards are playing well, obviously, with Thornton, and then Mobley, who was just phenomenal today, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. But you know, I think the big difference maker is Devin Royal. Like, when he's out there, you know, 15 and 8 today, it just gives him a different element because he can play inside and out, can handle the ball, can really, really rebound, and gives them some toughness and post scoring that they need. Be a little less reliant on those two guards. But it's a pretty good formula when it's working, and they were really sharp tonight.
Jerel, what'd you think of Ohio State and just kind of the season that they've had to date?
I mean, like Sweeney spoke to, it got off to a little bit of a rocky start, obviously. But what a difference a couple weeks can make, and I think he hit it on the head. It was a really impressive win. To be honest with you, it wasn't a great game that was super exciting to watch because they pretty much controlled everything from wire to wire. They, for the most part, they had a double-digit lead for the better part of the game. But again, they got some really good pieces. This is a team I was excited about. I still think that Bruce Thornton is probably one of the most underrated point guards in the entire country, man. And he's hit an absolute hot streak from three lately. He was 5 of 7 from three tonight, and also like Kev spoke to, just the freshman Mobley picked a great day to have his best game of the year. I think he really stuffed the stat sheet. He was super efficient. For the most part, as a team, they took care of the ball and they were solid defensively, man. So they had it rolling tonight. Really impressive win. This is a win. Like, these are the type of games for them going forward throughout the rest of the year, where they just need to handle business for them to be able to get a road win, somewhat of a quality road win against a Penn State team who's gotten really close to actually beating some people this year. So they're not as bad as they probably showed tonight either. I think that's exactly what they need. And they're in a good position right now where I think that they're in the tournament probably if it starts today. And then they got the possibility right now to continue to stack quality wins and continue to move up and improve seeding. And at the same time, like I said, they can't afford too many slip-ups and losing games where they need to win because, you know, they're not too far as well from being on the other side and being on the outside looking in. So if they finish up strong, man, Ohio State's an intriguing team.
I don't know, Kevin, if anybody's going to catch Michigan State, obviously, but you're kind of trying to identify teams that could contend, that could push a little bit in that top third of the Big Ten. Is Ohio State entering that conversation?
I think they're one of the more dangerous teams. I'm not sure they can go on a run and really climb the standings too much, just because you already have 5 losses. You've lost 3 conference home games already, which digs you a huge hole. And they still have, a good amount left on the schedule starting, this weekend against Illinois in Champaign. But, and you're trying to identify who are the teams that, might be interesting come March, might be a team that can make a push. I mean, you think about what wins in that tournament, it's guard play and toughness and size up front. And that's what Ohio State has. That's the recipe. And we know their best is really good, right? You don't beat Kentucky on a neutral and beat Purdue at Mackey if you don't have a ceiling, which this group clearly has. Like, I think it's, again, finding the consistency. Part of that's a first-year coach and Jake Diebler. But, again, playing their best basketball of the season at the right time. And, impressive to see how they've dug themselves out of that hole real quickly and look like, again, the team that I think can make some noise.
Yeah, like, I don't know. They feel like a team that at some point, 3-point regression hits them, just like it probably will a lot of teams. But, hey, man, ride it as long as you can, I mean, I just kind of think that's where they are. I will say for Penn State, man, I expected so much better, Jerel. I mean, this was kind of like, you move the game to Rec Hall. It's supposed to be your best effort of the season. And I know Ace Baldwin's banged up and he's battling, but the idea that this game was wire to wire at your place in a desperation spot of your season, Jerel, I don't know. That was really, really discouraging for Penn State today, I thought.
Yeah, it was, and it was a really bad time to have a rough night. Just overall, like, Ohio State drained the energy out of that building right from the tip. The fans were really they weren't given anything to kind of get excited about outside of the one big dunk that the kid had in the first half to almost close out the first half. But outside of that, man, they didn't have a whole lot to just feed off of as far as on the court stuff. They got murdered on the glass. They got beat 41-23 in the rebounding department. Obviously, like you said, Baldwin's a little bit banged up, but they missed a lot of free throws as well, too. If they probably convert on some of them, it's probably a little bit of a closer game, man. But, like you said, just disappointed for a team where we kind of, like, I feel like I've seen enough of them. I'm like, well, they're not a bad team. They just looking for a couple breakthrough wins or a couple big wins at home would kind of get them over the hump and kind of amplify their confidence a little bit in one another. But they didn't get it tonight, and for the most part, this will probably put a dagger in their season, barring any type of miracles.
Yeah, Kevin. Tyler's not here, but we know that Tyler Hansbrough has a trash can, right? He keeps a handy trash can that he puts teams in. So you're going to be Tyler Hansbrough tonight. You got a trash can. Is Penn State in the trash can?
They're approaching it if they're not there already. I mean, they're officially in Big Ten tournament bubble watch instead of NCAA tournament bubble watch. And that's not a fun place to be.
Yeah. So anyway, Ohio State gets the job done tonight. Wire to wire, 83-64. It was a beatdown there in Rec Hall. Tough loss for Penn State. Memphis Tulane going to go final here shortly. Looks like Penny Hardaway is going to exercise the Ron Hunter demons. Ron Hunter was out there dancing up 26-20 at half court. Memphis is going to get this double-digit win, it looks like. But it is final. It is final in Nebraska. It took overtime, but Nebraska does do it as a 4.5-point home underdog, 80-74. As Illinois slide, Kevin, without Visage continues. Now you've lost what? 3 of 4. I know it's only 2 of 3 without a Visage, but again, you just have such a poor shooting half in the first half. You spend the entire second half catching up, trying to catch up, and it's just not enough. Let's start with Nebraska, though, because I think this win meant something for them, and this loss meant something for Illinois. On the Nebraska side, what does this do for them, Kevin, in terms of their resume and tournament hopes, and just kind of where they sit right now in the picture?
Yeah, they were never as far away, from the bubble, despite those 6 straight losses, as you would think. And that sounds crazy to say, right? You can lose 6 straight and not be out of it. But I really felt like because of the wins that they had, especially beating Creighton on the road is a monster win. You get that in November. You get a couple more early conference wins, including the win over UCLA, and you got a shot. So now you get a strong home court win against Illinois, and you start building back the resume. Again, a lot more work to be done. You're 3-7 in the league. You probably got to get close to 500, but the path to doing that started tonight in Lincoln, and I thought their effort was really strong. I thought they were disruptive defensively. I thought they did a really good job of kind of taking Yakashonis and making him uncomfortable, showing him different looks. Illinois, obviously not the same team without Avicic. His ability to space the floor is game changing. But I thought Williams made big shots, and I thought Nebraska was the more disciplined. They executed better late in the game. Like they didn't make all the shots, but they consistently got really good shots on side out and baseline out of bounds in the final 8 minutes or so of regulation, and then into overtime. And you do the right thing like that over and over again. Eventually, the ball's going to bounce your way, and it did tonight.
Yeah, Jerel, I mean, this Nebraska team had lost 6 in a row. I mean, it was kind of going the wrong way for them. And even some of those at home, I mean, that's such a hard place to win, but they had even kind of lost some ground there. So just how important was this for Nebraska trying to get their season right?
I mean, it was a huge opportunity for them tonight, and I think that obviously the stars kind of aligned with Illinois battling, obviously with some guys on their team being sick and Avicic being out. So things kind of lined up for them. Illinois doesn't have a ton of depth right now in their front court, and to be honest with you, I was shocked that this game ended up as close as it was, and it's not just because of a talent perspective, but Illinois just didn't play well. Again, it's just another night of them hoisting away threes, hoping that somebody gets hot. I think that's a bit of a recipe for disaster. Nebraska was very adamant of just about going inside. They got Merez in foul trouble pretty much the entire game. Right away, he had 2 fouls early in the first half, and they just never took their their foot off the pedal. And for Illinois to come out and to shoot 42 threes on the road, 10 for 42 from the three on the road, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. This is the makeup of their team. This is the team that Underwood built. They want to shoot a lot of threes. They don't want a lot of, for the most part, in between shots. They're playing a little bit of Daryl Morey ball right now. They want stuff at the rim, free throws, and 3-pointers. But I'm just not convinced all the time that that's going to be a recipe that's going to turn out good results, man, because they don't have enough guys that are shooting at a high enough clip. And the two things that I was worried about with Illinois just in general was that at times I felt like they weren't physical enough. They didn't have enough good enough individual defenders, and then they just don't have a lot of guys on the perimeter that can consistently put pressure on the rim to score and not just driving it to pass to kick out for threes. Like they don't have any attacking guards on the perimeter that can get downhill and get to the line consistently. Don't get me wrong, Yakashonis can do it, but it's like 90% of the time he's going in there is going to be some type of touch shot, a floater, or it's going to be a kick out to a wide open guy for a tray ball, man. So it's just it's hard to win like that if you don't make shots consistently. Obviously, guys are going to make more shots at home, and tonight they just weren't falling. And they murdered Nebraska on the glass. I mean, it's really the only reason that they were even in the game, were able to crawl back into it, which is just the weirdest stat ever. But Nebraska, they lucked up, stars aligned for them, and a big win like that is one of the benefits and perks of playing in a good conference, because now they'll be right back in the mix at least.
Yeah, Kevin, I agree with everything Jerel just said, because I will say this first and foremost. I thought most of the perimeter shots were good, other than that Boswell shot that poked somebody's eye out in the crowd there late in the second half. So I thought most of them were pretty good, but I found myself watching them. Clearly your three has failed you tonight, and what they didn't have, and I don't know, maybe this is not having a Avicic, although it doesn't feel like it to me. They didn't sort of have that intermediate creator. In theory, maybe it's supposed to be Boswell, but like they just didn't have that intermediate creator that they could go to and say, hey, like get us out of this mud that we're in right now. And that's why you keep getting the 3 attempts and they continue to not fall, although it did even out in the second half. But what do you make of just their offense and what you saw from them?
I mean, they're built to take the threes. Like that's how they recruited. It's the guy, and these guys should be making shots. Like Ben Humrickhouse is not going to shoot 0 for 7 from 3 very often, but like it's happened a little too often lately. Like, he has really struggled, and you recruit a guy to essentially be a shooter. Like, just go out there and shoot. He's not rebounding the ball. He's not passing the ball. Like, Ben Hummerhouse is out there to shoot, and he's 0 for 7, right? And Boswell, like, I mean, you joked about the one, but like, he has really struggled shooting the basketball, and I think they've really tried to optimize their team around Yakashonis. He is an incredible playmaker, and they try to put kind of perfect role players around them. But when perfect role players don't play their role, it falls apart very quickly. And I think that's what they're feeling right now. I think it certainly hurts to not have a V-Sitch because, number one, they can play 5 out, and it opens the lanes a little bit for Boswell and for Yakashonis to drive it and pressure the rim, like Jerel said. He's also a guy that can pass as like a short roll playmaker, so they can cut off of him when they play in the ball screen and get guys to the rim that way. They're not built to space it and drive it otherwise. And I think really the only guy that does is Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn. And at some point, like, he's just got to be in the game. I thought his energy tonight was huge. He made the 3 to tie it in regulation. But, like, that guy changes the game when he's on the floor for Illinois because of his energy, because of how hard he plays, because he can actually get to the rim. And he is a dog defensively, too. Like, Boswell is a better defender, but Boswell has been so bleak on the offensive end at times here in the last couple of weeks. Like, I would be thinking about more Draven Gibbs-Lawhorn and less Kylan Boswell.
Wow, you're moving on from Boswell, huh? Giving up on him after one bad shot. I mean, it was just one shot, Kevin. All right. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. But man, no, I think you're exactly right. You need offense, no question. And Boswell's just not giving you enough right now. All right, one more to hit on here before we go to break. And this is an important one for him. Penny Hardaway goes down to New Orleans, which has been a very difficult place for him in his time at Memphis, especially with Ron Hunter there. And again, got a little dicey at times, but you pull it out 68-56. You win, you cover, you maintain that lead in the American. Jerel, we've talked about this Memphis basketball team. Obviously, the challenge with them has been these exact kind of games, right? Can you we know you can get up for UAB. We know you can get up for the contenders in your league, but can you go down to a place like New Orleans and can you handle business? Is this growth for Memphis basketball showing that they can do that in a win like tonight?
I'm not sure if it was growth, but it's obviously the end result that you wanted again. I will say this about them. I feel like this group has a ton more maturity than the past Memphis teams that we kind of used to falling apart in some of these situations. They don't seem to waver. They don't seem to just go crazy, and everybody start trying to win the game by themselves. And that starts with their backcourt play with Haggerty and Hunter. Even though those guys really didn't play well tonight, Danger kind of carried them with the double he had, and those guys kind of struggled from the field, man. But the one thing that I took notice of that was consistent from start to finish was just defensively, and they suffocated Tulane defensively. They shot 36% from the field for the game, 16% from the 3. It's not a whole lot of games you're going to win like that. I don't really care what the site is, whether you're home or away. So it was definitely a mature win from Memphis. They were able to eke out and get a little bit of separation at the end to win by 12, man. But we all watched enough of it to know it was a little bit closer than that. And they didn't play great, and they still got it done. So, hat tip to them at least. I'll say it was a mature win.
Yeah, and honestly, you probably get a little bit of a bump in the net in KenPom because KenPom had it as an 8-point win. So that's technically going to go down as an overperform. Kevin, this is also the second straight double-digit win from Memphis after Dane Danger was inserted into the starting lineup. I'm wondering if you think those two things could be related. He had another great night tonight, 19 and 10.
I think he gives them a different look offensively. Like, I think for Memphis to go where they want to go, they need both. They need Cisse's defense. They need Danger's offense. But, I think especially with the way that some of these league games get bogged down, and you're on an island, you're on the road, you're not playing great offensively, to have a guy you can throw it to on the block who can score the basketball and a guy who brings a ton of energy in Dane Danger is valuable. Look, I think the thing that's been different about this Memphis group than Memphis groups of the past is that they have not allowed their offensive, especially last year's Memphis team, they have not allowed offensive struggles to impact their defensive effort. And that's something, quite frankly, that Dane even struggled with at Illinois, was when he wasn't engaged offensively, could he do anything defensively? And he's not a great defender by any means, but I just feel like there's been growth with this group and understanding, like, here are the little things we have to do to win. And it's different guys potentially on different nights. Usually it's Haggerty, but sometimes, it's Dane stepping up. Sometimes, Carter's had big moments shooting the ball. Colby Rogers has shot the ball and had a big 3 tonight. Like, I think they feel like they're going to be consistent with their defense, and they're going to find enough offense from the guys they have in that room. And Dane James is one of those options to provide a little offensive spark.
Absolutely. It's a season-long sort of evaluation with them, because we do know that they are capable of losing games. Like, not that at Temple is a bad loss by any stretch of the imagination. It's a quad 2 loss on the road. They happen all the time in college basketball. But again, I think for that fan base, man, it's gonna take until March the 1st before they're willing to fully lean in. And I will also say this: this is not an opinion on the team or anybody involved in the league. We got to be very careful about giving my man John Crispin another Memphis assignment. He's exasperated. He's letting you know he's had enough. You got to read the room a little bit, right? To my network executives, like, my guy is like, he's seen enough Memphis for 1 year. I don't think he can take another one. So he's doing the best he can, but man, he's over it. He is over the Memphis basketball experience. We get it, man. We get it. We've lived it. We've lived it for 7 years. But a nice win for the Tigers tonight, 68-56 over Tulane. A lot more to come. It is an absolutely packed weekend. We got some returns. We got some big returns, some big reunions. Cal going back home. I don't know if it's home. It was a home for a while for him. We'll get into that preview Saturday. A lot more to come. Stick around. You watch Field of 68 After Dark.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today. Now that the college basketball season is in full swing, you need to make sure that you have access to the best betting tool on the market, the Rhythm app. Spelled RITHMN, is a data-backed app that uses AI and analytics to identify inefficiencies in betting lines and the player prop market that will allow you, the user, to profit. You can create customized, analytics-driven betting models tailored to your personal preferences as a bettor. Users have access to up-to-the-second against-the-spread data. And if you're like me and you understand pictures better than numbers on a screen, Rhythm's internal trend analysis provides you with the kind of graphs that will allow you to evaluate past results and project future performance in a visual way. Every Division I college basketball team is included in Rhythm's metrics. Free subscribers to the Field of 68 Daily will get 25% off for a Rhythm subscription. Use the QR code on the screen to sign up or download at the link in the description.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark here on a Thursday, January 30th edition of the show. We're on SiriusXM, and we will obviously be on YouTube, SiriusXM, for the rest of the season. And so we're happy to certainly be there again. I'm John Martin, joined tonight by Kevin Sweeney and Jerel McNeal. We talked about the action tonight, which still some games going, right? You got UCLA and Oregon going, and if anything happens in that, certainly we'll keep you updated. But we got some big games this weekend. We got some rivalry games as it happens. Some have more juice than others. I don't think any of these have juice. Like you go into the season and you look at these. I mean, I gotta be honest. You go into the season and you just sort of isolate these matchups. Like, oh man, this is going to be insane. And like each one is like, oh God, what happened? Like somebody's not doing their part in each of these matchups. We'll go through them either way. Let's start, Kevin, with Purdue and Indiana. Purdue has obviously owned this, recently. They've been the much better team this year. But I'll just ask it this way. I mean, if you're going to get off the mat if you're Mike Woods at Indiana, would this be the game to do it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the biggest thing you're looking for is, like, are they competitive, right? I mean, Purdue has been known to
Good
pop
start.
people at Mackey, and it would be – I mean, look, it would not be a surprise if Purdue runs them out the gym. They did last year.
Yep.
And, I think the one thing I will say in Indiana's credit, and this is the baseline, this is the lowest level of low, but you watch the Illinois game, they quit. They have not quit since then. They have battled in these games. They've quite honestly been unlucky at the end of a couple of these games. And now, again, you make your own luck. I think their execution hasn't been very good. But, guys have had to make tough shots to beat them. And if they play with the level of effort that they've played with the last 3 games, I think they have an opportunity to hang around at Mackey. But it'll be a statement if they don't, right? I mean, I think at the end of the day, you got blown out in this game twice last year by your rival. Indiana did. And you handed Mike Woodson unlimited resources to go fix the problem, while Purdue lost the best player in the sport maybe in the last 10 years in Zach Edey. If it's still a 20-point gap, if that's still how far apart these programs are, then I think the answer as to what's happening with Mike Woodson at the end of the year becomes very, very clear. I think that's what I would say.
Right. I don't even know, there is a certain threshold, Jerel. If it's gonna be a rivalry, right, there needs to be a certain threshold of pushback. We need to alternate some results here, right? I mean, if you just been getting your dick kicked in the entire time, not really much. I mean, is this a rivalry? You know what I mean? It should be, but is it?
You are not wrong at all, and I think you said it best in that first segment, John. That these are all very disappointing. It's you hit it square on the head. Is one team in all of these games is kind of like not holding up their end of the bargain. So that takes away from it. We can go into this, and every single one of these games could be blowouts. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure what it is. But if you check the spreads and stuff, it might be indicative of that. So I mean, at the end of the day, like Sweeney said, Indiana has a shot. How much of a shot do I give them? Little to none. It's hard enough to go in there and try to keep the game close, let alone win at Mackey. That place will be buzzing. And to be honest with you, Purdue is playing. They're playing at a high level right now, man. They just smacked Michigan not too long ago. So I think they kind of riding high and figuring it out. And quiet as kept, they'll kind of be around, or at least positioned well enough if Michigan State does slip up to kind of jump up there and make their presence felt for a Big Ten championship too. But obviously they'll need some help. But I don't have any confidence in this. These rivalry games aren't that impressive outside of the last one. So and that's really more off the court stuff, dealing with the coaches. So
now Kevin, you got to help me. I mean, I went to the University of Memphis, right? You went to Northwestern. Purdue is 15-4 versus – put that graphic back up. I just want to make sure I'm not hallucinating. 15-4 versus Indiana in their last 21 matchups. Now, that's only 19. Am I right?
Some great math.
Okay, I'm just making sure. So 15-4 in their last 19. I'm dying to know what happened in the other 2 matchups, though. We got it. But I just wanted to make sure because, again, sometimes my University of Memphis – my math is not quite where it needs to be. So that's why I got to go with Northwestern. But look, regardless of what the record is, obviously it's been one-sided, 21 matchups, 19 matchups. It don't matter. I expect Purdue to roll. I think you're exactly right, Kevin. I think it's going to be really tough for them in that environment where Purdue has absolutely steamrolled opponents much better than Indiana. I don't really get the sense that this is like some last stand moment tomorrow night for Indiana basketball. So we'll see. I'll be interested. I'll watch it. But I think we'll probably have a good idea where that thing is headed, 10 minutes in. All right. Again, we're talking about a 16-point, margin right now at KenPom. Who knows what the number opens at, but North Carolina-Duke. North Carolina has fallen so far that this would only be a quad 2 for Duke if they are to win this game. Again, 16. The North Carolina brand, Kevin, has continued to suffer week after week after week. should we expect a competitive one in this one, or what do we think?
I mean, the thing that's probably most concerning to me about Carolina is that the trend is down, not up. Right? Like, I think you give a lot of teams grace early in the year to try to figure things out. I think Carolina in particular, as they tried to navigate, some of these new lineups, getting these bigs up to speed. Instead, they've been bad lately, and they've been bad in close games. They've been bad down the stretch of games. Not good signs of a well-coached team. That being said, I think this is one of the only rivalries in college basketball where I truly believe records go out the window. I don't say that often. I think that's probably the most overused phrase, pun, whatever it is in sports. I think in this rivalry, things do change a little bit just because the energy is so high. And I think Carolina has the talent to hang in. I do believe that they can do some stuff that causes some problems for Duke. I'm curious to see how Duke handles a team with multiple guards and go create their own shot and get into the paint. I think that'll be an interesting challenge for a Duke team that likes to play these bigger guards. We'll see what happens with RJ, see if Cadeau can get into the paint. But it's going to take a out of shell performance from Carolina to even be in this game. They may not win it even if they play their best game of the season, but they just have to be so much better than they've been for the first 2.5 months.
Yeah, Jerel, do you share Kevin's sentiment that this one's got a chance to be competitive and be close?
I will find it hard to believe, but again, I do agree with Sweeney in this regard. This is the cream of the crop as far as rivalries in college basketball, and I do think it's a healthy hatred between the two, whereas you can't kind of throw the record book out. It's the Ohio State Michigan of college basketball, so it doesn't really matter. I would have bet $1,000 that Ohio State won by 2 touchdowns this year, and it didn't happen. You got to throw the record book out, but at the same time, I just don't see how they're gonna be able to match up with Duke's size. I don't think the smaller. I agree with you, Sweeney. I think the smaller guards and how dynamic some of those guys are will create some difficult challenges for Duke trying to guard them on the perimeter. But I just don't see those guys being able to consistently punish at the rim. I think Duke is probably going to murder them on the glass because they're so much bigger and they got so many, just positionally at every position for the most part. So I think it's going to be an uphill climb. But I will say this. I think that Hubert Davis kind of has an opportunity in my eyes, and this is just me. If I'm him and if I'm in this guy's shoes, you got opportunity in my eyes to kind of show your coaching chops, because I would throw everything I can possibly think of at Duke to try to throw them off and keep this game close so we have a chance to steal it at the end. And if that means going zone or doing something crazy, the way you guard flag and forcing some of these other guys who haven't been playing great to beat you, whatever it is, just as a coach, because you're at a point now, everybody's pressing the panic button. It's man, I gotta beat Duke one of these 2 times we play this year if I want to have a viable shot at kind of keeping my job or cooling my hot seat off some. So if I'm him, I'm throwing everything in the book at him. It might be a box and one. We might go 2-3 different zones we got to put in, because I know player for player I'm probably a little bit overmatched. We can't just come out here and play it straight up and expect good results with the roster makeup the way it is. So, man, why not try to muck the game up and junk it up a little bit? You know what I mean? It's knuckleball picture or something, man. Come in, somebody throwing that thing 40, 50 miles an hour and just, try to muck the game up some, keep it close, and then the rivalry is strong enough and it'll be enough pressure on both sides where it's if you keep it close down the stretch, then anything can happen. So, and UNC does have talented enough players to make those plays. RJ Davis is still one of the best players in the country, and Ian Jackson, has been playing great as well too down the stretch, and Cadeau is a wizard with his passing and getting in the paint and things like that too. So not that interesting of a matchup, but I think it could be close if they're able to throw some stuff at them and muck the game up some.
It would be a great time to get a 2024 performance from RJ Davis, and I want to come back to you for that, Jerel, because that's look, we've diagnosed North Carolina's problems 15 different ways from Sunday, right? And there are a lot of them. But I do think one of them is the fact that you're not getting that version of RJ Davis this year. Like his numbers are down across the board. He's taking fewer shots, which is a little mystifying to me. I mean, this is a consensus first team All-American. This isn't a guy that kind of squeaked in. I mean, this is a guy that was on that first team consensus. When you is there something different about him? Is it the team construction? Like what do you think is the explanation for why his production is just down?
Well, I'll give you my theory on it, and it's definitely more team related, but it's also the same. It's pretty much the same theory that I have for why Carolina's struggling this year in general. Is that okay? So the biggest thing is that you take away Baycott from last year. You had inside, outside, and now you're just adding guards. Like they got a ton of guards. The thing that bothers me is two things with that. It's like you can still win with a good guard play in college. I don't love the fact that all of those guys are of smaller stature. And it's not just saying, okay, you got to have guards. They got to be big guards. No, but the reason I'm saying is that it's because all of these guys, for the most part, have a hard time guarding. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're not guys outside of, Trimble that can hold up consistently defensively on another high level or elite guard. You know what I mean? Like they're going to have some tough matchups. Like Knippel's going to be able to post any of those guards up if he wants to tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? So I think it's definitely roster construction. RJ knew the ball was going to be on his hands when it was in the perimeter. I think it's a level of that where the ball has had to come out of his hands a little bit more and him playing off the ball more because, number one, you got Cadeau out there who kind of kills the spacing if he's not able to make shots early on. And then Jackson has come on of late and kind of gave him a little bit of juice and just like a little bit of buzz that they needed. But he's another guy who needs the ball in his hand. These aren't guys where you could just stick them in the corner and say spot up or, when I start driving, make a backdoor cut. Like these aren't those type of guards. All of these guys need the ball in their hands. So I think that's a major part. Like it's not going to be easy for RJ Davis. He's still putting up numbers, but it's come a lot tougher this year because of the spacing and things like that. So.
Yeah, it's been really fascinating, and they could certainly use a throwback to 2024 performance from him, obviously against Duke this weekend. All right, and then finally, in terms of just this is less of a rivalry as it is a return, but it still kind of goes in that group. Kevin, Coach Cal going back to Lexington, and when this season started, right? Arkansas was ranked, Kentucky wasn't. Now we get to the matchup. Kentucky's ranked, Arkansas isn't. So I think it's one of those situations where once the ball is tipped, you kind of see this game going a certain way. I don't think like the players have, necessarily any feelings towards each other. This is more of a coach and program type of thing. But what do you expect in terms of Cal's return? Are they going to applaud him? They did want him gone. So what do you expect the reaction will be for him when he comes back to Rupp?
I think in the future there will be applause, but I think the first time it'll be boos. I think there has to be a welcome back. I mean, look, if nothing else, like Kentucky fans didn't get a normal opportunity to boo because of Oakland. Like they didn't get to ever fully explain to Cal what that loss meant to them. And so I think
let it out.
The reaction
let it out.
It's all there. Let it out one time. And then we can all move on. Everybody's in a better place. Cal's making Tyson chicken money. We got, Kentucky winning again. Kentucky has a coach that the fans seem to enjoy having around again. Like everybody seems happy with this arrangement. So yeah, I think boos in night one will happen inevitably. But yeah, I think as you said, once the game gets going, it'll be smooth. Also, remember, Kentucky doesn't have a single player back. None of these guys played for Cal. Like the emotions are all external. Again, maybe a little bit for Wagner and a Visic and guys like that who were either at Kentucky or committed to Kentucky, like Carter Knox was. But yeah, I think big picture, it's just a basketball game once it's tipped off.
Yeah, Jerel, I had like inverted expectations for each of these teams, right? Like I thought Kentucky, would I didn't think they'd be bad. I just kind of thought they would be, an average basketball team. And I thought I thought Arkansas would have a chance to, with some of those second year guys back, develop, Cal's got a little fire under his belly, but I'm completely wrong about all of that. which is more drastic? Kentucky sort of year-over-year improvement, or how bad Arkansas is this year?
I think it's probably been Kentucky, and that's not to say that I think we all just kind of saw him piece together that roster at Arkansas firsthand this spring and over the summer. And we thought, oh, well, look at that. Cal's got enough pieces to kind of go do what Cal does. And we thought that it was going to translate. But, lo and behold, he's kind of run into some of the same issues that he ran into and that he had at Kentucky as well, too. And a lot of the reasons why the fans were heating him up and kind of on him about it. But, but what Mark Pope has done, it's been impressive, man. It's been impressive, man. And I watched this roster construction as well, too. I'm with you, John. I thought they were going to be pretty good because I knew that they were going to be a little bit more experienced in an older team. But I didn't think they were going to be this good, man. They look like they're right there in a viable candidate to definitely make a deep run and go to a Final Four. They got that kind of roster. And I think just off the court wise, it's, pertaining to Cal, not to say that one is better than the other, but everything that everybody was fed up with going, before Calipari's departure is kind of like the opposite of what Mark Pope is, man. Off the court, I enjoy listening to him, like his interviews and stuff like that, man. Just a super selfless dude, just constantly pushes his players to the forefront and talks about how much the university means to him. Like, you can tell that guy has deep ties, and he actually wore the jersey as a player too, man. So it's cool to see, but who knows what this game will be. I can imagine it probably won't end up pretty for Arkansas. One thing I will be on the lookout for, though, is, and I'll say this, is, well, two things. I'm looking to see how many of those dudes rock with Cal for real, because if you really rock with Cal, there won't be a lot of quitting to you. You'll at least come out and put forth the effort and really fight to try to, save face, to put together a good performance so he's not embarrassed in his homecoming. And the second thing I'll say is they can boo Cal. You can't boo Tyler Ulis. Y'all leave Tyler Ulis alone, all right?
Yeah. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will spare time. That's an interesting point there. I didn't think about that. I'm not hopeful that they will show out for Cal, just because I don't know how capable they are. Like, Kentucky is what Illinois thinks it is, right? Like the way they make their threes. You know what I'm saying? They shoot a lot, they make a lot. So I could see this just kind of avalanching and getting away from them, but we shall see. Yeah, no Boogie Flan obviously just makes it so much more difficult for that offense to do it much of anything.
Throws the ball in the post some too, though, John. That's the only other.
They
thing.
do. They do.
Like,
you're right.
They played with Carr and Williams some in that mid post. Like, he has some sick stuff he does offensively to generate shots, and it's not. I feel like Illinois is a little bit just more. We reign in threes. So sorry. That's right. Just wanted to make that point.
No, maybe Illinois should do some of that. Maybe they should borrow from that playbook. All right, so it's a loaded Saturday slate. We've got some bold predictions. So I'm going to ask these guys to weigh in with some bold predictions, their favorite games of the night. We'll do that when we get back. You're watching Field of 68 After Dark.
There is no sport in America that is more difficult to follow than college basketball. It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for injury updates, recruiting news, and transfer portal additions that actually matter. For just $50 a year, get access to the same information that your favorite team's coaching staff is subscribed for. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help you with that. Would you be surprised to find out that the Field of 68 is home to more than 35 podcasts? More than 25 team-specific podcasts that are hosted by the people that know what fans want the most. The Goodman and Humble podcast, the DTF podcast, the A10 Insider podcast, and the Mountain West podcast. But wait, there's even more. The Field of 68 will be launching the ACC Insider podcast this year. Subscribe to this channel and come along for the ride.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark here, Thursday, January 30th edition of the show. We're almost in February, which then means we're almost in March. So we're getting into it. We're getting close, fellas. No question about it. I'm John Martin, joined tonight by Kevin Sweeney, Jerel McNeal. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the games that have taken place tonight. By the way, what's that UCLA score? They are rolling right now. 40-26 at the half. After I thought like Mick Cronin was giving up on this damn team. They're quitting. He's quitting on this team, and he's quitting very loudly. It's not a quiet quit like we saw during COVID. It's an extremely vocal, loud quit. But he's got Bilodeau comes back tonight, and this team is rolling right now, man. This UCLA team, look out. So obviously we'll keep you updated on anything that happens in that game. But up 14 at the half over Oregon. Looking ahead now, Kevin Sweeney, to Saturday. It's your favorite game. Give me your favorite game of the weekend on Saturday, and give me your boldest prediction.
We saw the big rivalries last segment. There's one more rivalry though I want to point out, and I think it's going to be a monster game Saturday night. St. Mary's Gonzaga, and that has consistently been an elite college basketball game for the better part of 2 decades now, and it's a huge one for both teams. St. Mary's trying to climb the ladder in the NCAA seed list. 9-0 in the league. Blew out Santa Clara on Wednesday. They look really, really sharp right now. And Gonzaga sneaky needs a big win. Not to say that they're out or anything if they lose this game. They would be okay for now. But the way that this team has played really since November, it's time for them to win an up game. It's time for them to win a prove-it game. On the road at St. Mary's would be an incredible opportunity to do just that. So, really looking forward to that one. Obviously, Marciulionis versus Nembhard is a phenomenal point guard battle. St. Mary's so good defensively. Gonzaga obviously elite on the offensive end and so skilled offensively. Really excited about that matchup. I think it's going to be a fun one. Late night, Saturday night.
All right, I think you're supposed to make a bold prediction. I don't know if it has to accompany the game itself, but do you have one of those in the chamber?
Yeah, my bold prediction for the weekend is that Rutgers beats Michigan. Michigan has struggled here lately. Nearly got beat by Penn State at home on Monday. Saw what Penn State looked like tonight. And Ace Bailey's dialed in right now, man. Like, I was in Evanston last night. It was ridiculous. Like, I don't think there are 20 basketball players in the world who could have done what he did. Now he's got a lot to fix now. He's got a lot to polish. He's not a perfect player by any means, but he has really raised his game here lately. Rutgers coming off its best performance of the year. I think they'll continue that and find a way to knock off Michigan.
Man, that team, man, that Rutgers basketball team. I mean, they've. I guess this is just what you get in 2025 when you go all in on, the top 5 freshmen. I don't know. I mean, now you're not even getting Dylan Harper. Are you expecting Dylan Harper in this one?
I would not be. He had a boot on Wednesday night, so I would guess that he's a longer term deal with this sprained ankle he's dealing with.
We don't have a lot of term left. We're running out of term. So it'll be interesting to see if we see Dylan Harper back in a Rutgers uniform. I get it, man. It's part of the deal. All right, Jerel, what's your favorite game of the weekend?
I'm taking the easy way out of this one because I'm a little bit biased anyway, but I'm going UConn Marquette. Actually gonna get a chance to ride up for that one, so I'm looking forward to that. It'll be my first time making a trip to Milwaukee this year, and it's been long overdue. It's also National Marquette Day. So I had to, drop that plug in there. That's a national holiday for all us alums. So it should be a good environment. The place should be rocking. Obviously, UConn has kind of limped into it with them just escaping the other day against DePaul. But I'm expecting possibly McNeal to try to make his return. I think that's a real possibility. And to be honest with you, just with the way things are looking in the Big East right now, they're lining up for this game to end up being a big one. Marquette has a brutal schedule over the next week or two because I think they go UConn, then they go at St. John's, and then they have at Creighton. So it'll be a tough stretch here. If they're able to come out of this thing and stack a couple good wins, though, I think they'll be in really good position to win a conference championship again. And also Stevie Mitchell's been playing some of his best basketball, man. He's been awesome. I think he scored over 20 points the last 2 games, man. But he's just, I can't speak highly enough of Stevie, man. He's been great all year. And obviously with all the adversity and the commotion being caused by Dan Hurley cursing referees out, it should be a fun place, man. But, you know, our Marquette fans are really respectful. So he'll enjoy it. It'll all be in good fun. It should be a good game. Boldest prediction, and tell me what you think about this one, Sweeney. I got SC beating Michigan and giving them their first loss in the Big Ten. Michigan State goes 2 for forever from 3, and Des McClaw has a big game. Why not, right?
I mean, it's tough to go out west, man. It's tough to go out west. I know people have rolled through it so far, but the travel's a big deal, and USC's been playing much better basketball lately.
Hey, Jerel, let me ask you this, because this is – this Marquette team, obviously had the All-American and Cam Jones and top 10 in the country. They haven't gotten into like the real part of the Big East schedule yet. That's going to start with this game this weekend. This is the start of a sort of big test for them, right? Like, you got to play UConn twice. You got to play St. John's twice. You got to play at Villanova. How do you sort of think they come out of this?
I'm looking forward to it, and to be honest with you, I think this will kind of be a good barometer just for how deep of a run this team can make. It's going to be a lot of really tough games. A lot of them are going to be on the road as well, too. So we'll see how the way they'll be able to respond. Win or lose some of these games, I kind of want to see how they're going to bounce back if they do lose with a quick turnaround with another tough opponent right back. But for the most part, man, these guys have answered the bell all year long, even in different situations. They don't have as many offensive options as the years past, but I will say this. I really enjoy watching this team play, and as crazy as it sounds, even with Kolick and Iguodaro being gone, man, they played. It was fun to watch. It was an offensive clinic. It was beautiful basketball. And this year, they kind of turned that on its head, man. And it's rough, it's rugged. These guys are getting after you defensively. I feel like they're a much better team defensively as well, too, because we got a lot more good individual defenders that are on the court now. They're not necessarily great offensive players, but guys that are going to scrap, really good athletes. We're long positionally and things like that too. But I think this stretch right here is going to kind of tell us what we're looking at going into the Big East tournament and the NCAA tournament. So I'm excited to see it, man. Cam has been great all year, but again, I think we all just want to see somebody else be able to constantly step up consistently when he doesn't have it going. Or the other night, like he got in foul trouble and they still were able to come through. Stevie was a big part of that, and Joplin's been great all year too. Big Jop has been killing it, man. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm excited about the game on Saturday, so it'll be my first time in the building this year, so it should be fun.
Last thing on Marquette, I'll give my bold prediction of favorite game of the weekend in just a minute, but the fact that Cam Jones is still at Marquette blows my mind. It really does, because he committed to an entirely different staff, and what people probably don't know about Memphis kids is that they get really homesick, bro. They really, I mean, you've seen it time and time again over the years where, they go to a different place out of Memphis where they weren't recruited or whatever the case may be, and they always just find a way closer, right? They always find a way back closer to the hometown. And man, I just think it's a testament to the kid that he has stood down with that program, and look at him now. He's an All-American, one of the best players in the sport. That's just rare, Jerel. Like, you don't see that in the sport generally, and you definitely don't see it with kids from Memphis, bro. They're looking for a way to get back home.
Nah, man, it's cool. And it's cool to see, man, just to see from the time that he got on campus with a different staff, as you spoke to, just to the way he's kind of matured and became a man right in front of our eyes now. Like, I went up there last time, and it's like, man, Cam is the guy, you know what I'm saying? He the leader of the pack. All those guys look up to him and respect him now. So he's the elder statesman, man. It's really cool to see. And like you said, he's got his life up there, man. So I kind of see myself the same way. It was like, and I was only an hour and a half away, you know what I mean, from home. But once we got to that time, it was like I was never going home for what was at home. I was good. I had people in Milwaukee. I had everything kind of set out for me. So it's been cool to see, man. And Cam has been he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats in Marquette basketball history. So he's done a lot to help himself.
It's amazing. It's paid off. Yeah, game of the day for me. I guess you guys are still pushing back on the SEC being the best league. You know, I don't know what it is. I mean, all we've done is talk Big Ten today. Florida and Tennessee. And my bold prediction is I don't want the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I don't want the Nobel Peace Prize. Tennessee is going to score more than 43 in this one. That's my bold prediction. They're going to score more. Look, that's bold because they didn't the last time. Last meeting, they did not score more than 43. So I'm going to count it as bold. All right, it's time for Toast of the Night. Kevin Sweeney, get us started.
Yeah, I'll toast. I'm drinkless here, but I'll toast to Cleveland State. 13 wins in a row now, 11-1, 11 straight in league play. They are rolling in the Horizon League. Shout out to the Vikings, man.
Shout out to the Vikings. I love it. Let's show some love to the smaller schools. You know, we can do that here and there. All right, Jerel, what you got?
I'm going with John Mobley from Ohio State. I thought he put it all together tonight, man, with a dominant victory, and he kind of led the way from him. He was clicking on all cylinders, 19 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. So he just had a complete game, played really well, and the Buckeyes rolled. So, and it was a much needed road win for them. So,
absolutely. I ain't trying to hate on nobody, but if Evan Mia's rankings have Ace Baldwin 14th in the country, we may have to relook at the criteria. We may have to look at the model. The model might be broken. I ain't saying he's a bad player, but 14th, come on, bro. The players he's ahead of, I ain't seeing it. But again, I can barely count to 20, so I don't know. Again, we're staying with the smaller schools. This one comes to us from Jared Burson. Madison Durr from Monmouth, 40 points, 10 of 11 from the field, 19 of 19 from the free throw line. The first Division I player in the last 30 years to shoot 90% from the field and 100% from the line in a 40-point game. I mean, so that's amazing. Shout out to Madison Durr, man. That's a big one. Toast to you and to Monmouth. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight on it wasn't the busiest night of college basketball, but certainly a few things to sink our teeth into. Obviously, we'll have our full bracket reveal tomorrow here on the YouTube channel on Field of 68, so make sure you keep it locked. It's going to do it for us on a Thursday. For Kevin Sweeney, for Jerel McNeal, I'm John Martin. Make sure to always keep it locked here on Field of 68 for the best, most comprehensive college basketball coverage in the world. Have a good night.